I'm starting to think firing Stephanie White will not make the Indiana Fever better. Every time Caitlin Clark struggles, misses shots, commits turnovers, or Indiana loses a game, some of her fans immediately start searching for somebody else to blame. Sometimes it is the coach. Sometimes it is Kelsey Mitchell. Sometimes it is Aliyah Boston. Sometimes it is the officials. At this point, they have probably blamed the basketball, the arena lights, and the air conditioning. Everybody is responsible except the person holding the ball. I'm your host, Blueprint, and welcome back to I'm Starting to Think. Some Fever fans are calling for Stephanie White to be fired because they believe she is holding Caitlin Clark back. But let me ask you something. How many coaches does Caitlin need before her fans finally admit that Caitlin has to take some responsibility for the way Caitlin plays? Because Indiana has already changed coaches for her. After Caitlin's rookie season, the Fever fired Christy Sides. I am not saying Christy Sides was a perfect coach. She made questionable decisions, and there were legitimate reasons to criticize her. But we cannot ignore what happened while she was coaching Indiana. The Fever won only 13 games in 2023. During Caitlin's rookie season in 2024, Indiana improved to 20-20 and reached the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Under Christy Sides, Caitlin won Rookie of the Year. She averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds. She shot 41.7% from the field and 34.4% from three. She also led the entire WNBA in assists. All of that happened with Christy Sides coaching her. But after Indiana lost in the first round, some Caitlin fans blamed Sides. They said Sides did not understand how to use Caitlin. They said she did not know how to build an offense around her. They wanted a proven coach with championship experience. So Indiana fired Christy Sides and hired Stephanie White. And Stephanie White did not arrive as some random coach Indiana found standing outside Gainbridge Fieldhouse with a clipboard. She already had a successful history with the Fever. During her first stint as Indiana's head coach, Stephanie White led the Fever to the 2015 WNBA Finals in her very first season. She became the first rookie head coach in WNBA history to reach the finals. Indiana pushed the Minnesota Lynx to a decisive game 5 before losing the championship series 3-2. And Stephanie White was not fired after her first stint. She accepted the head coaching position at Vanderbilt University in May 2016. She completed the 2016 WNBA season with Indiana before leaving for her new job. During those 2 seasons, Indiana made the playoffs twice, and White finished with a 37-31 regular season record. After returning to the WNBA, White coached the Connecticut Sun. In 2023, Connecticut finished 27-13 and set a franchise record for victories. White was named WNBA Coach of the Year. She also led the Sun to consecutive semifinal appearances. She has been a WNBA player, an assistant coach on a championship team, a WNBA Finals head coach and coach of the year. That is not the resume of somebody who does not understand basketball. That is one of the strongest coaching resumes in the league. But after Indiana hired White, Caitlin's individual numbers did not suddenly explode. During her injury-filled 2025 season, Caitlin played only 13 games. She averaged 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds. She shot 36.7% from the field and 27.9% from three. Changing coaches did not magically remove Caitlin's weaknesses. but the Fever became better as a team. Indiana won the 2025 Commissioner's Cup Championship. Then, despite losing Caitlin and several other players to season-ending injuries, White coached the Fever all the way to Game 5 of the WNBA semifinals. Think about that. Indiana came within one victory of reaching the WNBA Finals without Caitlin Clark playing. White took an injury-ravaged team and kept it organized, competitive, and believing it could win. That is not bad coaching. That is the kind of coaching most teams are looking for. Now let's look at Indiana's current players. At the time these statistics were collected, Caitlin was averaging approximately 21 points and 7.9 assists. She was shooting 43.5% from the field and 34.5% from three. Those are improved numbers, and Caitlin deserves credit for that. But let's compare them to the teammates her fans keep blaming. Kelsey Mitchell was averaging 23 points while shooting 49.8% from the field and 42.5% from three. Kelsey was scoring more points and doing it more efficiently. Caitlin was also averaging 4.7 turnovers compared with only 1.8 for Kelsey. Yes, Caitlin handles more playmaking responsibilities, so she will naturally commit more turnovers. But nearly 5 turnovers per game is still nearly 5 turnovers per game. So when Stephanie White gives Kelsey Mitchell the ball, that is not sabotage. That is mathematics. The calculator is not part of the conspiracy. Aliyah Boston was averaging 17.3 points and 8.5 rebounds while shooting 52.7% from the field. She was also shooting 46.9% from three on lower volume. Sophie Cunningham was shooting 47.4% from the field and 42.9% from three. Lexie was shooting 44.2% from the field and approximately 34.8% from three. The Fever have multiple efficient scoring options. Why would a good coach tell everybody else to stop shooting so Caitlin can control every possession? Stephanie White's job is to help Indiana win. Her job is not to make sure Caitlin gets every shot, leads the team in scoring, and leaves with a gift bag. And this brings us to the real reasons Caitlin struggles. First, WNBA teams have studied her. This is not college basketball. WNBA defenders are stronger, faster, more experienced, and more disciplined. They pick Caitlin up early, pressure her full court, and attack her dribble. They make her work before Indiana can even begin running its offense. Defenders also know Caitlin likes to move left and create space for her step-back three. Teams are waiting for that move now. The league has the film. The scouting report is no longer written in invisible ink. When defenses send 2 players toward her, Caitlin sometimes tries to split the pressure or force a spectacular pass instead of making the simple play. That contributes to her 4.7 turnovers per game. Caitlin can see passes most players cannot see. That is part of what makes her special. But sometimes she attempts the pass she wishes was available instead of the pass that is actually available. There's a difference between creativity and mailing the basketball directly to the other team. Her second problem is shot selection. Caitlin's range is exciting, but just because she can shoot from near the logo does not mean every logo shot is a good shot. A heavily contested three from several feet behind the line is still a difficult, low percentage attempt. When it goes in, it is a highlight. When it misses, it is basically a long-distance donation to the opposing team. Caitlin was shooting 34.5% from three. That is respectable, but it does not justify treating every deep three like an automatic shot. especially when Kelsey Mitchell was shooting 42.5% from three and Sophie Cunningham was shooting 42.9%. Sometimes Caitlin needs to attack the middle, move without the ball, or pass to the teammate with the better opportunity. That is not Stephanie White disrespecting Caitlin or trying to hold her back. That is a coach using every weapon on the roster. Caitlin also struggles against physical defensive pressure. Defenders bump her, crowd her space, and make her work for every possession. Officials will miss calls, but Caitlin cannot allow one missed call to affect the next play. Stephanie White can design the offense, call timeouts, and defend Caitlin publicly. But she cannot shoot the ball, make the pass, or control Caitlin's reaction to physical defense. At some point, Caitlin has to make the adjustment. Firing Stephanie White will not improve Caitlin's shot selection, reduce her turnovers, or make her more efficient against elite defenses. Those improvements have to come from Caitlin herself. So I'm starting to think Stephanie White is not the problem in Indiana. The real problem is that some fans would rather fire another coach than admit that Caitlin Clark still has parts of her game that need work. But what do you think? Is Stephanie White holding Caitlin back? Or does Caitlin need to take more responsibility for her performance? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this episode, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you do not miss the next conversation. I'm your host, Blueprint. This has been I'm Starting to Think, and we are just getting started.